guys, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to try another recipe like we did with the sea salt caramel brownie cups. This time it's going to be a recipe that I got from my mom. I do make this recipe every year around the holidays. It's become an entire weekend baking all different types of cookies. I usually have either my mom or some of my sisters help me with it. Last year, my younger sister and I did it for one day, and I think we ended up doing around 600 or 700 cookies. We make platters and give them out. But this is one that I do usually do around the holidays, but you can have it anytime. I'm going to be getting together with my family this weekend, so I thought it would be a good excuse to make them. The nice thing is that whatever's left, this type of cookie, it's done in like a bar and you cut it. It does freeze really well. So it just has very basic ingredients. It's really very easy to make. Graham cracker crumbs, chocolate chips, coconut, sweetened condensed milk, walnuts. I did think that I had walnuts, so we are going to try it with pecans today, but typically I do it with walnut, and butter. So we're going to get started. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients. I have the instructions. We're going to start by turning our oven on to 350 degrees. It does tell you to use a 13 by 9 glass pan. I have always done it in the glass pan, so I'm not sure how it would work in another kind. I'm sure it would be fine. So it does want us to melt the butter. What I do is I just put the butter in and then throw it in the oven. And while it's in the oven, I'm going to work on chopping my pecans. Now you do want 1 full stick of butter, so I'm going to go ahead and get that in the oven so it starts to melt. So I just put the butter in the pan in the oven so that can get started on melting. I'll just keep my eye on it and wait for it to completely melt. Now I'm going to have to chop up my pecans. Okay, so I have my pecans chopped, and once the butter is melted, we're going to go ahead and sprinkle in 1½ cup of graham crumbs. Now I have done it in the past where I've bought regular graham crackers and I crushed them myself, but I was walking through the baking aisle and I saw the graham cracker crumbs, so this will just make it super easy. So I'm going to measure out 1½ cup now, that way when the butter's melted it's all ready to go. I checked on the butter, it's about half melted. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just prepping everything that I need, getting it all measured. Exactly, I opened up my can of sweetened condensed milk, measured out my graham. I'm going to measure out my coconut now. We do 1½ cup. Okay, this is my half. I started to fill my 1 cup again. So we have 1½ cups. The recipe calls for unsweetened coconut. Couldn't find it, so I bought sweetened, which I've done before. So we have 1 stick of butter melting in the oven. We have 1½ cups of graham ready to go. We have 1½ cups of coconut, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. We're going to do 6 ounces of chocolate chips, and then we have our 1 cup of chopped walnuts, but in our case today we're doing pecans. I'm just going to check on the butter. Okay, So our butter is melted. Okay, so we have our butter melted. 1 stick of butter. I used salted, as that's just what I always have. We're gonna go ahead and sprinkle our 1½ cups of graham crumbs on top. So this is kind of like a cookie bar, because you bake it like you do a brownie in one big sheet and then you cut it. It's delicious. Very popular with my family. I'm just going to try to even this. Just going to try to press this in, make it nice and even. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take half of all of our ingredients. We're going to do half of the coconut, half of the pecans or walnuts, half of the chocolate, and then we're going to sprinkle some of our condensed milk on top, and then we'll just repeat it using the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to start with my coconut. And then we're just going to use the rest of our sweetened condensed milk on top. Okay, so I did just put it in the oven. It goes in the oven at the 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. I put it in for 25, knowing that my oven just seems to cook things really fast. I'll check it at 25 and see if it is at that golden brown that you want. If it's not, then I'll leave it in for a couple more minutes. Now, I had some issues with the camera the whole time I was doing this. The one thing that I don't think it captured was when you have the melted butter, and you do your graham crumbs, then you do half of your ingredients, the sweetened condensed milk, and the other half of your ingredients. Before you put the second half of your sweetened condensed milk on the very top of your cookie sheet, you want to press everything down, because right now it's all kind of just sprinkled on. You want to press it in and then cover it with the sweetened condensed milk. That's really gonna like hold it all together. Instead of it just being all loose, it'll flake. It'll still be delicious, but you might have to eat it with a fork instead of just being able to hold the cookie bar in your hand and just eat it that way. So we'll check in again. It looks like we have 22 more minutes and see if it is the correct color. And that's really it. Super easy. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes. And it looks, it's a pretty good golden brown. Try to get it on the... So this is Hello Dollies. I'm not really sure why they're called Hello Dollies, but that's what my mom called them. I don't know if they're out there with this recipe with a different name, but to our family, these are Hello Dollies. So we would just let this cool, and then once it is cool, we'll just cut them into smaller than brownies. Brownies, you know, usually do a little big. These are pretty sweet, so we do like small, little bars almost of the Hello Dollies. I'm excited to try it with pecans instead of walnuts. I've always done it with walnuts and it's delicious, but it's super easy and really quick. I mean, 25 minutes to 30 minutes in the oven and maybe 10 minutes to actually make the whole thing. So 40 minutes tops to do this recipe. Okay, so just to recap the recipe, you're gonna melt 1 stick of butter in a 9x13 glass pan. Then you're gonna put 1.5 cups of graham crumbs on top of that to form almost like your crust. Then you're going to use 1.5 cups of coconut, 1 cup of chopped walnuts, or pecans in this circumstance, and 6 ounces of chocolate chips. You're also going to use a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and you're just kind of going to do half of that at a time. So half of your dry ingredients, half of your condensed milk, the rest of your ingredients, the rest of your condensed milk. It's going to go in the oven, 350 degrees, for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. When you take it out, you want to let it cool before you try to cut it, and then it's good to go. You could even freeze it. It freezes very well. So if you make it and you're only going to use half of it, freeze the rest. That's probably what will happen when we eat it this weekend. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or any recommendations on it, please let me know. Any recipes again that you want to see, I'd be happy to try them out. Again, I do an entire weekend of baking all different types of cookies. I thought instead of filming them all and then showing you right around the holidays and there's no time for you to try them, I'll start trying those recipes out now and posting them that way. If there's a recipe you want to try, you have plenty of time to get the ingredients and do it for any holiday that you have, any gathering you're going to. I was also talking with my mom, and I think I am going to do the cookie favorite recipe soon, the sugar cookies, the cutouts, and then the royal icing. So look for that. That should be coming in the next couple weeks. Again, I love doing that, so I can't wait. But if you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys soon.